Another consideration is naturally going to be what kind of assistive technology they're using, if any, to aid their hearing impairment. So, thinking about amplification devices, trying to get them to be able to magnify that sound to where they can't hear it. We can do it through cochlear implants that are surgically implanted and somewhat controversial. Hearing aids, um, they're definitely more accepted, but they need to be refit as the child grows, and there's a lot of issues. If you can imagine, just like a child with glasses, with them getting lost or broken, hearing aids have a lot of issues sometimes with their cleanliness, whether they get wax in them and stop working them. But that's the most common and I want to say readily available resource. And then there's FM radio hearing aids, where the teacher actually wears a microphone and transmits to that sound is transmitted to a device a student can wear. So usually looks like some kind of microphone with a little clip and a little pack you can clip on your pants. And then the child in your classroom that needs this technology is wearing headphones that kind of automatically amplifies the sound to where they can hear it at the frequency they need without blasting out your whole class. There's also a trend, especially in new buildings, where they're building these classrooms with amplification systems in them because research is showing the benefit of that amplified sound to all kids just to maintain their attention. And if you think about that, have you ever been somewhere where the speaker says, I'm not going to use my microphone? For whatever reason, just not having that little amplification, I speak personally for me, makes it harder to focus. So between that helping kids and then also helping teachers who often have a large strain on their voice, it's going more and more in the direction. Naturally, that's not something you might be able to convince someone to add, but it is an interesting idea, and I'm in support of it. Okay, we're going to look at this case study to try and kind of pull together what we've talked about. I'm going to show you a last video on some targeted interventions for this population. And then we're going to move toward visual impairment. So I want you to pause here and think, what did Desiree's teacher do to accommodate her for her hearing impairment? I want you to pick those things out. And then I want you to think, what other things could she have used to provide her support in that mainstream classroom? Going to move on. If you're not quite finished, which this was a very little bit amount of time, but just pause it here and then push play when you're done kind of sorting through that. This last thing is from a children's hospital, and it just talked about providing services and accommodations for the deaf and hard of hearing. So, watch that in conclusion of this portion, and then join me to go over visual impairment.